Well, a lot to dig into, so let me get through the essentials and provide a little background because some people may be overwhelmed. So, however you define Scientology or anti Scientology, it's been in the news lately because so many prominent members, Tom Cruise, of course, John Travolta, and some of the activists on the anti Scientology side have also been very prominent, like Mike Rinder. So, in the last year and a half, there's been a lot of splits within the anti Scientology community, and probably one of the most divisive figures beyond Mike Rinder is Nora Ames. And Nora, for a long time, was allied and a longtime friend of Aaron Smith-Levin, and has recently announced that many things. Incredibly, one, she's no longer associated with SPTV, which was this kind of loose tag or label that Aaron and Rinder and others popularized. Second, she is no longer associated with Aaron's formal charity, even though it's not a real charity, but we'll put that aside, the SPTV Foundation. She's no longer a part of that. She's rebranding her channel. And finally, she and Aaron have decided that they are no longer friends. So there's a lot to take in. Uh, there's a lot to be said, but I guess this is more my raw reaction because there's a lot to dig in analytically and historically. But one of the things that she kept trying to insist on is this is not an anti-Aaron video. I have nothing bad to say about Aaron's, and I will let Nora speak for herself. But it's really quite ridiculous.
Want their real estate scam to stop. Okay. So this isn't a clash of the Titans or anything else. Okay. And I agree, Freya. I agree. I'm just going to pull your comment up here, Freya. You don't have to be besties with your colleagues. Just respect each other. And that is, I agree with that 100%. So I hope that my tone right now is coming across that way because I do, I do respect Aaron as a content creator and what he is doing. Okay. But that's different than considering,
So you're telling me
someone a friend
you
or
had
not a friend.
Friendship with someone that goes back, what, 25 or longer years? Perhaps as many as 30 years? And we decided, it's over. Yeah, it's over. It's Joe over. But don't assume anything negative about Aaron. Don't assume anything negative about Nora. Well, I have a little bit of a personal intervention in all this because Nora, and again, to be fair, it's only once or twice she's named me as a whatever troll, evil, demonic internet figure for fact checking her. Yeah, just fact checking her makes her really get into a rage. But anyway, but I and several other people alerted her. And let me credit Lindsay, an ex lover and ex associate of Aaron, who came out and basically spilled the tea on Aaron's, well, no nice way of putting it, scandalous behavior. Again, I'm actually not really, quote, outraged at the scandalous behavior as much as Aaron's consistent gaslighting of people that nothing happened, nothing went wrong, misrepresenting events, and just basically putting out this very false history of himself and the movement. That's a little bit more annoying to me, but that's me. In any case, Lindsay let out the secret that privately Aaron did not like Nora. He has not liked Nora for years and years. So even though Nora kept appearing on his channel, even though Aaron promoted Nora to do more on her YouTube channel, and Aaron justified her toxic behavior, and Aaron encouraged her to attack Mike Rinder and others, somehow or other, Nora just woke up and found out after many, many public, these are not private videos, these are not private events. Like, Aaron publicly got himself into trouble. He publicly got caught creating conflict. All this is public. I am not destroying anyone's privacy here. This is all public. So Nora saw what? 10, 20 incidents with other people, and somehow only now woke up and said, oh, maybe Aaron is a little toxic. You think? You think? So I hate to say I told you so, but I told you so. So we know that Aaron didn't like you. So let's stop pretending that, yeah, this person doesn't like me, so I don't think we're friends. No kidding. No kidding. So It's a lot of gaslighting and unreality in that video. However, I try to be maximally fair on this channel. So, for instance, I just put up a video that's not popular. Well, we'll argue the other side. That's what we do here. So, I think Nora, Streets LA, and Aaron are not really being genuine. And Nora says she's going to pivot beyond Scientology, which I think is a good thing because her, quote, work on Scientology is laughably basic and childish. It's just not very informative. But again, she says she's going to rebrand the channel to move beyond Scientology. She will still cover it, as will I, but she will put some emphasis on other things. And she will be moving beyond the SPTV whatever space, which is also a good thing because that is also a bit of a mess and is filled with a lot of grifting and lying in echo chambers. I should be celebrating that there is some more independence in the movement, but we had that already. Again, it's always a big wrong thing to get nostalgic about the past, but if you have studied anti Scientology, it always had problems and issues, but for decades, there was a lot of looseness and independence. Really, just study it. But for whatever reason, 15 years ago, it became very closed. It became a very gate kept community, and the gatekeepers were everywhere. Now, I will apologize if I contributed to the gatekeeping myself. I will try to be better. But yeah, it became really intense and really toxic really quickly, and Nora contributed to all that. So now that she just wants to walk away and say, "Hey, guy, I made a few mistakes." No, it wasn't a few mistakes. You deliberately attacked people, including me. You deliberately lied about people, including me. It's not a mistake. You were just caught red-handed being really ugly and vicious. So anyway, but again, if she no longer associates with Aaron, I will update the information and I will, in some videos now, say she's no longer a part of SPTV. It's not just her. Apparently, Dylan, who was also on the SPTV Foundation, will no longer be a part of it. I actually think his departure is a little bit more interesting. He says he formally resigned about, I guess, now a week ago or more, and Aaron accepted it. Although the SPTV Foundation website, whatever we're going to call it, has not updated its information. So Sterling, who resigned even further back, he's still on the website for whatever reason. And Reese is still on there, even though she's made very clear she will promote SPTV, but she's not really proactive with the SPTV Foundation. She gets some emails. Aaron and her communicate, but they are also not really friends. They're not hostile, and at least with her, it's credible that she has this kind of like you know loose association, and that's fine. But yeah, the website is a complete mess. It keeps promoting itself as a charity. It is not a charity. It does not meet the IRS definition of a charity. I guess you could say it's a nonprofit, but legally speaking, it's not a nonprofit. It's a not-for-profit corporation, which is a different legal category. So I don't know if Aaron is that not truthful about these legal definitions, but the SPTV Foundation is not what it says it is. Apparently, the money just goes to Aaron, so it's a little deceptive. And again, the same thing with Nora with Dylan. We're getting conflicting stories. So some people say that, listen, Nora was a victim, which she was. I would never deny that. And she was victimized at a very young age. But then we start getting back into these controversies. What is young? What is child? What is consent? What is toxic? What is a community? These things are still being debated, and I guess Nora has her perspective, which I find to frankly be a fairy tale, and she keeps revising her history because, as far as I know, she joined the Sea Org as an adult, but maybe she'll say she was a small child. Apparently, she was like 6 years old when she joined Scientology. No, she wasn't 6 years old. She signed the contract as an adult. That's what she did. She knew what she was doing, but it went wrong and bad for her. And suddenly, everything Scientology bad because it didn't work out for her because she was hoping to be one of the higher ups exercising a lot of power and influence. Well, there you go. But at least I would say Dylan has been a little bit more consistent that he did feel a lot of suspicion against Mike Rinder and the so-called higher ups who left Scientology, like Claire Headley, Rinder, and some other quote ex executives who have tried to be leaders of anti Scientology. So is this anything more than just YouTube personalities going against one another? I think so. I think there are some important things at play, but I can't deny that the YouTube, and it's not just YouTube, you do, right, let's be consistent, you do make choices here, even though YouTube does push you to do certain kind of content, it is your choice, right? Negative content does sell. Extremely negative content does sell. It does build your platform much more rapidly than quote positive, let's all work together kind of videos. But still, there are reasons and good reasons for divisions, and I will actually try to put together a video praising Aaron because I did think he did something positive and kind of destroying the monopoly, which was false, that lasted for several years, which he was a part of, where certain issues were never discussed. There was a lot of self censorship. There was a lot of intimidation going on behind the scenes. And of course, Aaron only cared about it as it related to him. So, him being constrained, him being held back, he hated. But him holding back other people, he didn't care about. So, it is just what it is that this monopoly is breaking down. It has to, I think, be totally eliminated and let in all voices, but it is still a community that's a very guarded community, a very censored community, and a very fringe community that keeps getting more and more fringe and keeps saying it represents this mainstream anti-Scientology, but really it's just splitting up into these weird, small neo-Scientology cults, which Nora is a part of as well. So I guess the age of Arontology, or the Church of Arontology, or the Church of Aaron, Q K Aaron, whatever you're going to call it, is getting weaker and weaker and losing more and more members, just like quote real Scientology, and it's splitting off into all these little factions. So it's all very fascinating to see in real life social movement kind of rise, decline, and start to degenerate. And then good or bad, that is what is happening. So I still think there are very healthy parts of the movement, but I still, to be very honest, that's a very small part of it. And again, if I'm not part of the good part of the community or good part of the movement, well, you can improve. But this thing was already a mess before I got here. So people trying to blame me is like, no, I'm sorry. Nora was quote helping to construct this community for decades, so she needs to take responsibility. If she's willing to be better, that's fine, but I still don't trust her. You should not trust her. I definitely can't say sign up for her channel or subsidize her. But if she's willing to be at least less toxic, I think that's worth noting. But we will have to wait and see whether she's actually serious about that. And that's where we stand. So hopefully, Nora and Dylan will move away from their cultish practices, but I'm very pessimistic they will. It just seems that these so-called ex-Scientologists, or at least a huge swath of them, are not really interested in fighting Scientology. They're just interested in recreating it for their own purposes. And if that is their goal, fine, so be it. You make choices in life, but they should be more honest about that instead of saying they're fighting David Miscavige and his authoritarianism. They're fighting David Miscavige, the person, but they're not really fighting his ideology, not in any real sense, in my humble opinion.